All right, let's dive into a really important topic today: application modernization. It's all about updating your company's core technology to not just keep up, but to get ahead. Think of it as future-proofing your business, and we're going to break down exactly how it all works. But first, let me ask you something. Does it ever feel like your technology, the software that's supposed to be driving your business forward, is actually acting more like an anchor, just weighing you down? If you're dealing with systems that are slow, clunky, or just can't handle what you need them to do today, trust me, you are not alone. So what's the answer? Well, it's application modernization. At its heart, it's the process of taking those older, legacy applications and transforming them to meet the demands of today's business world. By upgrading the infrastructure, the architecture, and the features, you're really just empowering your business to be way more agile, much more secure, and a whole lot more competitive. Now, I know what you might be thinking. This sounds like a huge project, and yeah, it can be. So what's the payoff? Why would you go on this big quest? What are the rewards at the end of the road? Oh, the rewards are absolutely worth it. First off, you get improved agility, which means you can react to market changes in a flash. Then there's better scalability, so your app won't crash when you suddenly get a flood of new users. You also get a massive boost in efficiency, which leads right into higher cost savings. And maybe most importantly, you get way better security to protect you from all the modern threats out there. It's a journey that pays for itself, for sure. Okay, so you've decided to move forward. Fantastic. But now you've got to make a choice, because this is definitely not a one-size-fits-all kind of deal. It's time to choose your path, and the map for that is what we call the 6 Rs of modernization. And here they are. You've got rehost, replatform, refactor, re-architect, rebuild, and replace. Each one of these represents a totally different level of effort and, you guessed it, a different outcome. You know, some people even whisper about a secret 7th R, retain, which basically means do nothing. But today, we're focusing on the 6 paths that involve actually making a change. So let's break down the 3 most common paths you'll hear about. First up is rehost, which everyone calls lift and shift. It's the quickest option. You're basically just picking up your app and moving it to the cloud with very few changes. The cloud benefit is pretty basic, but it's perfect when you just need to get something moved fast. Next is replatform, or lift, tinker, and shift. Here, you're making a few smart tweaks to take a little more advantage of the cloud, which gets you a moderate benefit. And finally, there's refactor. You'll often hear this used interchangeably with re-architect because it's the most intensive of the 3. You're actually redesigning parts of the app to be truly cloud native, meaning it's built from the ground up to use the cloud's full power. It's more work, no doubt, but the payoff is huge. So you've picked a path from the 6 Rs. Excellent. But you can't just start walking into the wilderness. You need a map. And that's exactly what this 5-step roadmap is for. It gives you the structure you need to get from point A to point B without getting lost. Just about every successful migration follows these 5 key phases. You start with discovery. That's figuring out what you actually have. Then you move to design, where you plan out your new home. Phase 3 is the big one, the migration itself. After that, you're ready for going live, and finally, there's ongoing support. Now, every step here is critical, but that migration phase is where all the technical heavy lifting happens, so let's zoom in on that for a second. The migration phase really kicks off with your infrastructure. This is where you literally build your new home in the cloud. And before you do anything else, you back up all your data. That part is absolutely non-negotiable. Then, you set up and configure the new cloud environment. Think of it like you're preparing the land and pouring the concrete foundation before you even think about putting up the walls of the house. All right, the foundation is set. Next up, application migration. With your new cloud infrastructure all ready to go, it's time to actually move the application. This is where your chosen R strategy, whether it's rehost, refactor, or another, really comes into play. Your teams will move the code, deploy it, and then test to make sure everything works perfectly in its new environment. This is where the real work of the project happens. And the final piece of the move is your data. This is where the classic ETL process comes in. You extract the data from your old systems, you transform it so it's in the right format for the new one, and then you load it in. This step is so critical. It makes sure that all those years of valuable business information make the trip safely and are ready to go from day one, with nothing lost or corrupted. You know, for many companies, the destination of this journey isn't just a new location for their app. It's about giving that app a completely new form, transforming it from a rigid, old structure into something way more flexible and way more powerful. And this slide just illustrates that transformation perfectly. Over on the left, you've got the past, a monolithic architecture. Think of it like one giant tangled block of code. Everything, the user interface, the business logic, the data, it's all woven together. On the right, you see the future, a microservice architecture. Here, that big block is broken down into a bunch of smaller, independent services that just talk to each other when they need to.
So why is this so much better? Well, with microservices, you only have to scale the little parts of your app that are busy, which saves a ton of money. You can push out updates way faster. The whole system is more resilient. If one tiny service fails, it doesn't crash the whole application. And it's so much easier to try out and adopt new technologies, which really future-proofs your business.
But, like any great adventure, this one isn't without its dangers. A successful trip requires some serious planning to navigate the hidden risks and make sure you actually arrive at your destination in one piece. Just take a look at this. This right here is a dependency map. It looks like a crazy spider web, doesn't it? It shows all the complex connections between different applications. Every single line is a conversation happening between systems. Now just imagine trying to move one of those dots without understanding how it's connected to everything else. You can see how things could go very, very wrong, and fast. And that is exactly why you have to map these dependencies. Taking the time to do this up front is what saves you from broken systems and killer downtime later. It helps you figure out the right order to move things in and helps you prioritize what to move first. It's your insurance policy for a safe journey. And what if, even with all your amazing planning, something goes critically wrong when you flip the switch? You have to have a safety net. You need a rollback plan. This is your big red emergency button that lets you switch back to the old stable system in a heartbeat. It protects your business, your customers, and those SLAs. You know, the promises you've made about being up and running. So when you boil it all down, modernizing your apps isn't just a tech upgrade. It's a core strategic decision to make your entire business more agile, more competitive, and more secure. The real question isn't if you should start this journey, but how. So let me ask you, are you prepared to choose the right path?